Welcome to our monthly Fabulous Folded Cards. We have flowers for you this week or this month, and this is going to be such a versatile cutting die. You're going to love it, so please come play with us. Now this is the card that Debbie made, and she built the flowers up high, and they're just going to slip right out, and that's where the greeting is. In fact, you get it there, and you can put it on the front if you like. Okay, but let me show you what Teresa's done. I do have to tell you one thing before we begin. This is everything that you're getting. There are 8 pieces in this die. We felt that with having the flower pot, the insert, that little lid that goes right there, or the rim, we also wanted to add some flowers and leaves just so that it's all complete. However, when you receive it, your package is going to look like this. It doesn't show everything, and the count is wrong, but please know this is everything you're going to get. Okay, so with that disclaimer, we can move on. Well, let me show you what Teresa's done. And she also went with blue with her very first card. So there we go. By the way, the card itself will be 4 by 5 when you complete it, and then just depends on what you want to do with the flowers. Now, as you can see, Teresa has used the flowers and she's overlapped them, and that works well. But let me just give you the step-by-step process. It's really pretty simple. So you're going to get the dies. In fact, this is what the flower pot looks like. And these 3 sides cut, but this one is just a score line, and it's meant so that if you take a 10 by 5 inch piece of cardstock and fold it in the middle, that's going to give you a base for your card, and then you can simply place the die like so, with this along the fold, and cut it out, and what you will get is this. You will get just like that. So that's how step 1. In fact, all of the instructions, of course, because this is from hot off the press, they are right on the back of the package and just gives you everything that you need step by step. So that's something that's true with all of the Fabulous Folded. We never leave you hanging. Okay, so then with that, you will have this piece, and then you will also cut out, this is the piece for the rim, and you can see it has that decorative edge that is cut out. Very pretty. That's one piece. And then you're going to have the insert, and that's cut with this piece. It cuts on all 4 sides, of course, as does the rim. And then you also have the flowers, the two flowers, the centers, and the leaf. And the leaf has got embossing on it, so that's going to give a nice look. Now what you'll do is you'll glue these 2 sides together. Now you do want to leave room for that insert to go inside, so we suggest that you use glue just right on the edge. You can also use the extra sticky tape. We like the 1/4 inch size because it's going to be very, very sturdy, and it will hold your card together while this is going in and out. By the way, Teresa has a tip. If you want to just really ensure that this is going to go smoothly, she likes to take a dryer cloth and just rub it on the edges. That just works well. You can also use wax paper. So that's going to go in here after that is assembled. And this is going to go right here. You can have it go just above the pot if you like. In fact, that's what Teresa's done right here. So let me just show you. So as we open this up, you can see she's added some leaves there on the rim, but the rest are on the insert. So really pretty. Now you can see, and you see how that kind of nestles down when I close it, and another one right here. Now what Teresa used for her base was the Blue Persuasion cardstock. Now this has 2 each of 6 colors, every color of blue you can imagine, even going into dark, dark, dark navy and almost black. So that worked nicely, and it's a good weight. Now to do her flowers, she also used the blue Persuasion, so that worked well. Now to do her papers to add, she also used the coordinating blue Persuasion 6x6 papers. And let me show you the ones that she used. This sheet, she cut and it went right down here, and she matted it and just placed it at the bottom of her pot. And this one, oh, excuse me, also the cutouts of that paper pad. And again, so this just goes right here, the thank you can see it right there. She also matted that. On the insert, let me bring it out. Actually, you can see right here at the top, and this is the paper that she used, that really pretty light blue. And then on her insert, she's got more of the cutouts, and then she used this paper, and you can see that she used this area and just glued it onto the insert. And then again, you can see the cutout there and the You're So Sweet right there. So everything is really very self-contained. Now, for her flowers, she used the, as I said, the blue Persuasion cardstock, but she also needed to get some green. So she went to our cardstock. This is our Pastel cardstock collection. There's 20 sheets. They're double-sided, and so she used that because it's got a lot of those light colors, and so that worked pretty well. And you can see how she layered them. So she's got most of them right here at the top of the insert, and with the greetings and so forth. So this is just going to slide inside that little pocket. And we also have the kind of adornments going on, so you can see the ribbon. Now she did add the ribbon. This is from the blue paper, blue ribbon collection, as you would imagine. Now, let's get in just a little bit closer. I just want you to be able to see there is a shiny bauble right here. So if we can get in closer, Steve. And it's just a really sweet little touch. And it comes from the Wishing Bubbles and Baubles. Bubbles and Baubles. This is the Sage collection. And you can see that these are epoxy ones, and she pulled out one that has the butterfly. Inside the insert, she also has, well, I guess she doesn't. I thought she had some on the inside. Okay, well, you certainly could. It would be very, very simple. Okay, so that is our first card. Pretty much using it as you would expect. Okay, we'll back up a little bit just to give you some more room. And let me show you her next card, because she's going to take it, as always, in a slightly different direction. So there we have a very different looking. Now, this one, she has taken the flowers and put them on that lid, that rim that goes around the flower pot. And actually, she's made the flower pot a little bit shorter, about 1/2 inch shorter. And her greeting is right here on that insert. So she's just taken it in a different direction, kind of made it a little more compact. Now, in this case, she has used for her cardstock the Secret Garden. It's a very, very popular collection we came out with earlier in the year. And that is the cardstock that she's used to die cut those flowers. I'll talk to you about those flowers in a second. But I want to get into not only the papers that she used, which of course were the Secret Garden, but also just what she did. Now, as I said, this one is slightly smaller, and let me show you the example. Here we go. Now she cut it about 1/2 inch shorter. So all she did was to take her die and just, you can see how it's shorter. So you can either go ahead and cut it out and then trim off the top, or you can adjust it as you're cutting it out. It makes no difference. But this piece is the same as the first, with the fold at the bottom. So the fold needs to be wherever there's a straight line. Now she is giving us in the instructions a download. So you'll see it over on the supply list at the bottom. And this is the paper pattern for the front. And Teresa is just wonderful about doing that. And so this is the sheet that she used, and she's got it right here. And so you can just use that pattern to cut this out and to let it nest right into your card. Now, as you can see, she used white cardstock. You can also go with our 5 by 6.5 inch cards if you want to, and just die cut along the score line. That will work perfectly also. Now, so she has placed the paper on there, glued it in place, and then with the rim, she has taken, let me see, let me get the papers out for you. In fact, let me just lift up the flowers. Can you see that? Well, let me show you. So you can see that gold right there. But she has used this coordinating paper just to cover the top part of that lid, that rim. I don't know why I keep saying lid, it's a rim. And so she allowed this decorative edge to remain see-through. So that's really pretty. Now, when she went for her decorations, she has To My Dear Friend, well, and that's right here in the cutouts. Again, everything is just right there. For the insert, she die cut that out of yellow, and you can get that out of the that cardstock I just showed you, the pastel. And then she used this one, and you can see it right on the edge there, that she used to cover that piece, again letting the yellow show, and more of the cutouts. This one and the many thanks just go right in there. She did poke a little hole at the top, and she used the white ribbon collection right here, as well as on the front of her card. So that's really sweet. Now, how about those flowers? Well, one of the nice things about this flower pot is that it is incredibly versatile, and I think that, I know Teresa really likes that, and I know that everyone appreciates it. So she has taken the Secret Garden, that's the paper she used, but the Secret Garden number 2 and number 3 flowers, and she has put them, as I said, on the top of that rim. And so what she did is she cut out out of number 2, she cut out the purple. You can see just one of each. And then out of the number 3, she cut the 2 of the pink and then 1 of the blue. And you can see it's got the centers and everything. Now, do you see the shading on those? Well, what Teresa did, and it's just a really good technique to use, is that as she pulled those colors, she used the Spectrum Noir ink pads. They're like the Distress ink pads, they're water-based. And so she just matched them with the colors and simply used, you can use ink daubers, you can use the blending brushes, just to ink along the edge of each of the petals, and that goes very quickly. So that's a really nice touch. You can see what depth it adds. Okay, we'll get these. Oh, by the way, the ones she used: Plum Jam, Pine Tree, Crushed Velvet, and Midnight. Again, they're all in the directions that are down below, as we always do. The other thing that Teresa did is in cutting out the leaves. Now, the leaves are part of the flower pot, as I told you, and you can see the embossing. So she took a bone folder, and while these petals, the layers of the petals, are foam taped and they're flat, for the leaves you can see that they're kind of curved. So she simply did exactly what I'm doing. But you want to do that before you attach them to your card, okay? So that just gives a nice kind of movement to it and a visual look to it that's really nice. Now, the other thing that she did is she added in these, which are the sky wishing bubbles and baubles, and they've got these epoxy that are kind of like a half circle. So she put one here, and I guess, oh, and then the little heart right here on the To My Dear Friend. So that's just a nice extra bonus. Now, at the bottom here, And also underneath, you see that touch of gold? Well, Teresa used our fancy border Dazzles. Now there are 96 of them in this package. Black, white, gold, and silver. Obviously she used the gold. So a little piece down here, that 2 of them right there. In fact, you can see it's this one. And then same thing on her insert at the top and the bottom. Just adds a really nice extra touch to it. And like the first card, she has the lid that you can see through. So that's really pretty. And again, this just tucks right down and just makes a really nice, so a very different look from our first card. Okay, you ready for the third one? And I have to tell you, it's going to be different too, because that's what our Teresa does. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Now, she did something different. In fact, as I open this, let me show you. This one opens from the top. How neat is that? So you can have it open at the bottom, open at the top. You can make it slightly shorter, keep it as it is, whatever you like. Okay, so here's what Teresa did. In fact, she sent along this little thing so I can show you. So with her flower pot, she simply, because this is going to score, she placed it on her paper and placed it just slightly over where the fold is. That way it's not going to cut. Okay, very easy to do. And then it's going to cut those sides, and then you're just going to trim right along here for that score line. And you're going to end up with a card base that's going to open at the top. Easy, easy to do. Okay, now Teresa used something different on this card. Not a paper pack, but an artful card kit. This is called Something Wonderful. And this has die cuts in it. It has the papers, it has cutouts. So you can see there's 73 pieces in that. And so she used the paper to cover the front of her card. Now again, Teresa is giving us a help because she loves to have the card base showing as a mat, and that worked nicely. So she's given us a download. Again, it's going to be in the directions. It's going to be on the left-hand side, the supply list. It's at the very end. In fact, this is going to be your front, and in this card, the inside paper pattern also. So that's nice. In fact, let me just open this. So you can see it has this gingham, and it also has this all over pattern. I love the small pattern. In fact, that gave us an idea for a paper collection for next year. So that's fun. This is one of the cutouts, and it has been matted, and that works nicely. Now she did something different on that rim also. In fact, let me see, she's get for you. Let's see. I've got a lot of things over here. I think I can just kind of show it to you here. So what she did is she cut it once like this and cut it a second time, and then simply let this back that, okay? And that's what she's got right here. So she did it out of yellow and out of green. By the way, the cardstock that she used here is out of that 20 collection of the Pastel. So that gets kind of double duty. And so she did back it. I think she felt that this pattern was kind of busy, so she really wanted to let that show, and by backing it, so very easy. Now you can see underneath these leaves that same pattern that is inside that check is also on the top of this. So it's just nice that she does it. It just finishes off quite nicely. Now, she has done something else here with the flowers. These are the flowers using the dies that come in the package. Again, the 2 of them, the leaves, and then of course the flower centers. On those flower centers, she added some of these rhinestones, and this is the blue shimmer sparkles from Hunky Dory, and that just adds kind of a nice little flourish there. Now with her flowers, Teresa just wanted to add more. So she went to the tiny flowers and leaves, and I think this is a favorite of hers. I have to completely agree with her because I love this curving piece. So that's curving, and it just adds a nice balance into the flowers. You don't have to do it, but it's nice to see that as an option. Now, let me just open up the inside of her card and just show you again. These are some of the die cuts from that Artful Card Kit. Again, another one of the cutouts. And then do you see the thin line Dazzles? Now, this is a silver, but it's a pearl silver. So she's used it there and at the top. She's also used it on the front of her card down here and along here. And this is something new from hot off the press. This is called Thin Line Dazzles Pearl and Pastel. And this is the pearl silver that she used. And so it's got pearl in several colors, and then it has pastels. In a total, there are 10 sheets. Now, I think there's 60 Dazzles on each sheet. So that's going to be quite, times 10, yes, quite a nice number, over 600 of those thin line Dazzles. And that's what she's done here. And I think it just adds, this is kind of a vintage look, and so she didn't want to have too much sparkle. I think the blue does a nice job, but I love the fact, I hope you do too, that you can add this going up, you can make it shorter, you can add your flowers and tuck them in. The other thing you can do is use any of the flower cutting dies, just the ones from hot off the press this year: Sweet Pea, Lilacs, Magnolia, Hydrangea. You're going to be seeing sunflowers later, and poinsettias will be doing. So this becomes kind of all seasons, all reasons, birthday, thinking of you, just want to send you a hug. All of those are just perfect. And I hope that you love the flower pot card cutting dies from hot off the press, the fabulous folded line designed by Teresa herself. And thank you so much for joining us. Oh, don't forget that money saver. And by the way, the fabulous folded money savers are always a great deal because you're getting something free for the same price as the die. So that's not to be missed. I want to thank you so much for joining us and for being, as always, the best part of paperwishes.com.